We welcome you into week 6 of the Mike Turner Show as Carson-Newman goes on the road to Gaffney, South Carolina and picks up a 31-20 victory over the Limestone Saints on Limestone's homecoming. Hello everyone, I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Turner. Mike, you summed it up after the game on Saturday as a tale of two halves, and the second half, what a sensational effort by the Eagles defense. Allow Limestone just 33 yards in the third quarter, and something that we haven't seen yet this season, 3 second-half turnovers produced by that defense. What about the job of?
Well, that was total domination. Gosh, that was such a great effort by those kids, and that was not going to be denied. I'm really, really proud of them from the fact that we did turn the ball over. That's what's been missing, the whole time it's been missing. So we feel like now we ought to expect that to happen and be excited and go out and make more turnovers.
Desmond Farrell did some stuff in that game that, from an individual standpoint, I don't think we've seen in quite some time from Carson-Newman football. High points a jump ball for a pick and then returns it 58 yards only for a block in the back to get it called back, but then a one-on-one forced fumble and recovery that he returns inside the 5 to seal the game. What about his efforts?
Oh, his efforts were outstanding, and you really feel excited for Des. He needed that kind of game to happen for him, because I think, and all of our coaches think, that the sky's the limit for him. He's a very talented young man. Just needs to make up his mind that's the way he's going to play all the time, and turn it loose and make plays.
What was it about the second half that was different from the first half, especially defensively, that led to such a keyed-up performance?
Well, I think in the first half we would hold them on defense, and then they would make a play. We would hold them, back them up, then they would make a play. We went and scored first on offense, and then they come right back and score. We go back and score. They come back and score, and then we do, thank goodness, get another touchdown before the half to make a difference in the game. It just seemed like in the second half, I don't think there was anything adjustment-wise made big that would have turned it around. Except maybe just determination and fight and go, hey, we're here, this is what's at stake for us, and let's turn it loose, just don't hold anything back.
A quality ball club in Limestone, too. That was a team that 2 years ago on that field, you won in a laugh for 69-28. Mike Furry seems to have that program trending in the right direction. Those were the league leaders that you beat on Saturday.
Well, and Mike has done a great job, and they've got great players, great athletes, and their program is sold out, for them to be successful, and that's one of the first things of any program, is that the administration and those kind of things have to be behind it. So Mike and his staff have done a great job, and they've been a very formidable opponent, come back in 3 games, won 3 in overtime. So there's a team playing with the greatest of confidence. Just because you got them down, that didn't mean a whole lot. So those kids play with a lot of grit, and again, they're not any lower level than anybody in the South Atlantic Conference. They're all the same kind of athletes, same size, same speed, same talent. So they're going to be somebody to have to counter with for years to come.
Carson-Newman gets the win over the Limestone Saints on Limestone's homecoming, 31-20. We'll take a gander at the first half when we come back after these messages on the Mike Turner Show. Back on the Mike Turner Show as Carson-Newman collects a 31-20 win over the Limestone Saints in week 6. I'm Adam Cavalier alongside the Eagles head man Mike Turner. Mike, a first half were kind of a seesaw battle back and forth, end up taking a 21-17 lead into the halftime locker room, but teams went punch for punch with one another. How do you sum up that first half?
Well, I think it was a punch. It was a punch for a punch, it was. And you want to be giving those punches instead of taking those punches. And we got to get faster started. We talked about to them, start fast down there, start fast and finish strong. We did in a sort of a sense. We did start fast. Gosh, the kids played hard. Nothing wrong with that at all. We just maybe a half a step off of making a tackle here, a hand away from knocking a pass down, those kind of things. And they did a great job attacking us, but they attacked the same way in the second half. It was how you attack back, how you made your mind up. This is what we're going to have. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to go after them. But it was that. It was a battle of two halves. The great part of the game, the part of the game that saved us is offensively, I was sort of frustrated we couldn't stick the ball in the end zone a couple times there in the second half. But the key factor of it was we didn't turn the ball over at all. And our defense and our field position with the football and the kicking game made them go the long way. And I think that gave an advantage to our defense.
Mike Furry's ball clubs have been known since he's been there for attacking defensive football. Led the nation last year in defensive touchdowns, top 10 in turnovers. They're among the leaders this year as well. It's only the second time in his coaching career that his defenses haven't forced a turnover. Why were you able to secure the ball against a team that's normally pretty attacking defensively?
Well, they weren't lacking on the attack last night. We're still playing with, even though it's the middle of the season, we've still got some young guys in there that just have to believe and trust in what they're doing, and just go with the aiming point, the angles that we talk about going to, and you can't worry about what if. That's irrelevant. In offensive football, you got an aiming point. The ball snaps, you go with that aiming point, and you execute the offense. I guess probably I didn't get the ball outside like we needed to as far as throwing the ball on the perimeter. We did that early in the game, and probably should have come back and did that more often in the second half. That was there, but we kept trying to get established the running game going so that we could get some drives going in there and keep our defense off the field.
Carson-Newman gets the win over the Saints 31-20, and we break down the first half highlights on the Mike Turner
On to
Show.
the right. Wide side is to the right on 2nd and 7. Left hash at the Saints 38. Evans takes, gives on the dive right of center to Dillingham. Burst free of a tackle at the 35. He's in a foot race along the right hashes. 10, 5, touchdown! Carson-Newman! Jared Dillingham, 38 yards, and the Eagles grab the lead with 9:50 left in the first quarter. Jared Dillingham, good physicality, and an excellent burst to get into the end zone. Evans under center with 3 wide. Evans takes the snap, back to pass. Wants the out and up along the right hashes. In stride, caught it at the 20, and into the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Darvier DeBose along the right hashes. Grabs the out and up from Derek Evans. 54 yards, and the Eagles have the lead. Corbin in the gun. Takes the snap waist tight. Settles, hit in the backfield. He's latched onto by Tamoris Coates, and finally Saheem Stupart polishes him off back at the 21. A loss of 8, and the temerity of Tamoris Coates to latch onto the back of that uniform with his right hand. Snap back to Corbin. Corbin pressure, hit in the backfield, and driven down for a sack back at the 25-yard line. Tamoris Coates comes free on the blitz. And the Eagles dropping for a loss of 8 to force a field goal attempt from the ever-reliable Nick Smith. Is right. Trips go to the wide side right. Same look again. Wildcat. Phillips shifts off to the left side of the line. Patton in the Wildcat. Low snap, takes it, gets up the middle of the field, and Patton is into the end zone. Ball came out. Official on the near sideline signals touchdown. 6 carries for 57 yards for him. 1st and 10. Evans takes, throws, middle of the field, complete to McCarron. McCarron out of the backfield, splitting the hashes. Stays on his feet with a broken tackle at the 25. Sprints inside the 15, and finally gets knocked down by Williams down at the 11. Trevor McCarron. Goal, right hash at the Saints 3 for the Eagles. Evans under center. Speed option to the left. He'll keep it. Moves between the hashes down to the 1-inch line. And now the hands go up. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Looked like they were going to signal that Evans was outside the goal line when he came down, but he inches the nose of the football across. Evans calls his own number and puts the Eagles back on top. Corbin in the gun. Takes a low snap off the turf. 3-step drop. Now throws along the right sideline into the end zone. That ball gone up for, and an interception. What a pick! Darius Williams. Every inch of his 5'10 frame extended to haul in the pick at the goal line along the right sideline. And the Eagles preserve a 4-point lead.
Those are the first half highlights as Carson-Newman goes on to win over the Limestone Saints 31-20. Mike, a running attack that Jared Dillingham continues to grow, and I made the comment last week that he wasn't the most fleet of foot, but he's starting to pull away from people now. I don't know where he's found that speed burst.
Well, it's all about your first step, and in this offense, it's called a step of faith, because in this offense, you don't know where you're going to get the ball or not. So you might as well be running a 100-yard dash on the first step. It's like catching a ball over the middle. Don't worry about getting hit. You're going to get hit anyway. So you might as well catch the football. So the same thing is if you take that first step on the veer lane, hey, rip that baby 100 miles an hour, make a great pocket, and expect to go score. And Jared Dillingham is a young man right now that's expecting to go score, and that's what you're looking for out of a running back.
Deontay Thomas back in the starting lineup and 6 yards shy of his first 100-yard game. It felt like, at least from watching up in the press box, that the light bulb started to come on for him this week, at least in terms of his understanding of the offense.
It has. It's gotten a lot better, and he can communicate it to you now. He knows when he was a little too tight or too wide. And it's back like we were talking about offensive lineman. That back has to hit a point. He can't be 6 inches outside, and he can't be 6 inches. There is a point that you aim at, and when we're all lined up and we're all ripping it at a great tempo, and we're all going first step, 100-yard dash, and getting the aiming points right, it's something to behold.
You look at the first half. Was there a moment where you were especially proud of the offense for continuing to counter what Limestone was doing?
Oh, evident. I was tired of our whole football team. You get a feel of a football team. You're on the road. Gosh, our schedule was erratic yesterday, getting down there, and all the kind of things happened. The only guy that got upset was me. That's just how it wasn't another coach. It wasn't a player. They were just, hey, coach, we're fine. Let's get dressed and play. We got ahead, got tied. We went back ahead. All the encouragements on the sideline. Defense gave up a touchdown. Offensive guys are out there encouraging. Defense shuts them down for 3 and out. Offense is out there. Offense scores a touchdown. Defense is encouraging. And at the same time, you go out and go 3 snaps. You don't get anything. Nobody's complaining. The people are urging them to come along, pick it up, make it happen the next time you got the ball.
How proud are you that is the way that this team is behaving?
Well, that's pretty much the reason why this team's 4-2. You could go the opposite direction in that during periods of frustration, like having 2 games you've lost because of 1 snap here and 1 snap there. And that's easy to get in that frame of mind, but we're grateful. We're grateful to the good Lord that these guys understand what the mission of this program is about. And it's not about them as an individual, it's about us as a team, and it's about us honoring God in all we do. And that ought to be when it's 3 and out or 3 snaps and don't make a first down, that honoring should be the same way.
Carson-Newman goes on to get the win over the Limestone Saints, 31-20. Second half breakdown heads your way after this on the Mike Turner Show. Back on the Mike Turner Show as Carson-Newman collects a 31-20 win in Week 6 over the Limestone Saints. Carson-Newman's first road victory in nearly a calendar year. I'm Adam Cavalier alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Turner. Calendar year, but you haven't been on the road that much. It was only 4 games that you lost, but you talked about the frustrations. What was it like to overcome those to get that win on the road?
Oh, it was, well, like I said, I never saw any frustrations by our kids at all on the sideline. They handle that well. They get dejected, on offense. You think you should score every time you got the ball. On defense, you think you should go 3 and out every time or turn the ball over and quicker than that. So we got to keep growing up. Like I said, there is not a great flux of seniors or juniors on this football team. It's a process, and it's a team in a process of growing up, getting a little bit older, getting a little bit more mature. Hallelujah, that's got to happen, and we're getting there.
Certainly, though, one of your seniors had a fantastic game. Saheem Stupart, a career-high 16 tackles. Most tackles in a single game since Jacob Coleman had 17 against Tusculum in 2013. What about the effort of a kid playing in his home state, too?
Oh, absolutely. Well, he knows Mama was there, all right? And there was a lot of people there that are Saheem fans and things like that. But, he's a team guy, and that's what makes him special. He's a guy that's on our advisory council with players, and he's not just a linebacker. He's not just a defensive player. He's a team guy, and he's a great team representative.
You look at that second half, we touched on it earlier, just 33 yards of total offense for Limestone in the third quarter. What was the difference first half to second half, especially for the defense?
I think it's just an increased attack mode. Maybe we got it a little bit simpler there at the half, okay, and got some people calmed down. And I think obviously on defense or offense, the simpler you keep it, where they can turn loose even more without thinking. Football's a great game of reaction. You have to think. There's no question. You have to be a great thinker, but to let the athletic ability come through to truly show itself, it's got to be a reaction. And I think we got it to that state there in the third quarter, and those kids responded beautifully.
Carson-Newman gets the win over the Saints, 31-20. Second half highlights head your way now on the Mike Turner Show.
On to the final possession, no different here. Evans takes, it's a dive to Dillingham. Dillingham into the second level, across the 40, up to midfield along the left boundary, and finally brought down in the boundary left side at the Saints 49 by Williams. Jared Dillingham rips the dive. Rush to Jared Dillingham. 3rd and 14. Bain to the right of Corbin in the gun. Trips to the wide side right, lone man short side left. That's Crow. Snap back to Corbin, chest tight, 3-man rush. Corbin steps up in the pocket, now rushes right. Corbin off his back foot, flutter ball over the middle of the field, and that's an interception. Des Farrell comes away with it, still on his feet. Farrell working his way to the left sideline at the 20. Farrell has a cadre of blockers. Farrell to the 40-yard line, up to midfield, tight-roping inside the left sideline. Farrell past the 35 and 30, and finally brought down by Smith at the Limestone 28-yard line. Des Farrell, what a play! Interception on a jump ball that Corbin threw off of his back foot and then meanders his way 59 yards. Evans under center. Takes the snap, gives to Thomas on the dive right of center. Thomas into the second level across the 40 and 35. Burst free across the 30 and finally wrenched down by Raymond Hall along the left hashes down at the 26-yard line. 20, 2nd and 7 Eagles left hash at the Saints 42. Evans takes, gives right up the gut to Deontay Thomas. Thomas freewheeling between the hashes, gets inside the 15 and 10 and tripped up down at the 8-yard line. Joey Felder with the touchdown-saving tackle. Thomas stumbled, and if he had managed to keep his feet, he's shooting for 6 and for the Eagles. Evans takes, speed option to the right. Evans hops left at the 5. Evans bowling his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Derek Evans on the option keeper to the right, cuts left at the 5, lowers his shoulder, and the physicality of the sophomore puts the Eagles up by 7 with 8:43 left in the fourth quarter. 27-20 in favor of Carson-Newman. Corbin in the gun, takes the snap waist tight, handoff Patton straight ahead. Good gain across the 40, steps through an arm tackle. Now he's ripped away by Des Farrell. Farrell along the left sideline, cuts back at the 10, and Farrell spins down inside the 5. Des Farrell took it away from Patton all by himself. And the sophomore out of Miami, held out of the end zone by the quarterback Corbin. What a grip and a rip by Des Farrell. And a 35-yard return puts the Eagles with 1st and 10 inside the 10. 4th turnover that the Eagles defense has forced today.
Those are the second half highlights as Carson-Newman collects a 31-20 win on the road over the Limestone Saints. When we return on the Mike Turner Show, it's time for Michael Wattrang to shine the Eagles spotlight. That's when we come back after these messages. Back on the Mike Turner Show for Week 6 as Carson-Newman wins over the Limestone Saints on the road 31-20. I'm Adam Cavalier alongside the Eagles head man Mike Turner. Time now for our Eagles Spotlight. And this week, Michael Wattrang puts it on Dimitri Salisbury.
The recruiting story of Dimitri Salisbury is one that every high school athlete should hear. He wasn't the main focus of a visit from Carson-Newman and was being underestimated. But his ability to focus on what he can control led him to Mossy Creek.
Carson-Newman gave me the opportunity while some of the other colleges didn't. They kind of overlooked me because of my size. Coach Dino came down to one of our games to actually see Wimbush play, and he ended up seeing me as well, and called me up here for a visit. And they seemed like they gave me the idea that I would eventually have the opportunity to get some play time and all of that. And they said that obviously I would have to work for it, but they just gave me the opportunity.
What caught the eye of Dino Waits? It was not the tangibles. Rather, Waits used the eye test when he tracked down the future Eagle.
The key thing to it is, and what we really try to value, is finding football players. Finding guys that are every play they're playing their heart out, and they may not be the biggest, tallest, strongest, fastest guys or whatever, but they're playing football, all out and with all their heart. And I think that's part of the key thing you can do. If I'm a player, and that's one thing Dimitri did, and I think that's what showed up, and that's what's showing up now, because he's gonna give his heart to everything he does.
The sophomore had 4 carries in 2017, entering Carson-Newman's date with 23rd ranked and undefeated Catawba. Coach Mike Turner put the ball in Salisbury's hands 17 times in the upset victory.
He's not world-class speed by any means, but he's world-class heart. He's the kind of kid that's great to be on this football team. He's a guy that people love to be around. He's a guy that you can depend on. Dimitri Salisbury is never going to get you beat.
Like many mainstays on the roster, Salisbury showed a willingness to play special teams in an attempt to find his way onto the field. That attribute allowed Waits to find the sophomore time on the playing surface.
He finds a way to get the job done, in the classroom, in his social life, in his heart. He's always trying to learn and grow. And then on the football field, he's one of those guys that once his freshman year when he was here, he saw that he wasn't going to be the starting running back, and he started asking me, put me on this unit, put me here. I can long snap. He's like our backup long snapper. Most people don't know that. So he's like our backup long snapper. So he is the guy that wants to get the job done. And once you got one of those guys, you can plug them in a lot of different areas, and they're going to help.
Reflecting on the last several seasons, Salisbury had a moment to appreciate the work and time he had put in. Much like his recruiting process, the Georgia native worked on ways to improve himself.
It's nice to see the product of your hard work. 2 years of watching what you practice every day. And, last year I got the opportunity to play on some special teams, but freshman year, it's hard for most guys just to go from being, you're that guy at your high school to come into college, and you're sitting out a whole year and not being able to play and all that. It's rough on some people, and it got to me too, because I'm human. So I got frustrated at sometimes, but I stayed consistent with my hard work and all that, and eventually I'm getting to experience the fruits of my labor pretty much. So
Salisbury's story is one of timing. He produced a great effort with Waits in attendance that separated him from the rest of the players. While his story is not unique, the persistence displayed has turned the running back from underestimated to a leader. For the Mike Turner Show, I'm Michael Watrang.
All right, thank you very much, Michael Watrang. And Mike Turner, Dimitri Salisbury, a high heart, quality kid, and sat out this past week with an injury, but what an effort to work his way into the running back rotation for the Eagles this season.
He's one of those special kids, and he'll have one of those things on his tombstone: I'm an overachiever. And Dimitri is a great young man, a solid citizen, and makes so many contributions to this football program without crossing the line. He does things in the background, he does things on the practice field, he does things on game day, encouraging kids, and it's been so special to watch him be able to be out there when it counts, making plays. And just sorry to see him pull a groin and couldn't get it back this week. We would have loved to have him last night at Limestone. He would have made a difference, certainly. But boy, just a top class kid.
Turn your attention now, only time this season that you have back-to-back road games, head up the mountain to face Tim Clifton and the Mars Hill Lions. Always an entertaining game when you face Mars Hill, and this season no difference with the play calling. David Salmon and the Lions, top passing offense in the league with 2 big play threats. Keyshawn Taylor leading the conference in receiving. What sticks out to you about a Tim Clifton coached ball club?
Well, a Tim Clifton coached ball club is always going to go for the big plays, and they're always going to have big plays ready. And he does have 2 great receivers. Those kids are very talented, and Tim's going to coach them up. There'll be some special plays. But, on defense, they're always very solid. They're coached well over there by Coach Barnett, and known Coach Barnett a long time. And he's a quality man and a quality coach, and those kids will come and get after us. And it's Carson-Newman at Mars Hill, and it'll be a battle.
Mike, pleasure as always. Congrats on the win over the Limestone Saints.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it.
That's Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Turner. This has been The Mike Turner Show. Thanks for watching.